Good afternoon, I'm Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon, many parts of the country still at threat of severe flooding as PAGASA hoisted a red rainfall warning over Metro Manila, Bataan, and parts of Cavite this morning. Meanwhile, the death toll from the effects of severe tropical storm Crising and the Habagat rises to 6. When it rains, it pours. Supposed flood control projects raising eyebrows after alleged budget insertions worth billions of pesos. Many are asking, where is the money going? And the United States reaffirming its support to the country amid its long-standing territorial dispute with China in the South China Sea. We get an update from Washington, D.C. live. The death toll from severe tropical storm Crising at the southwest monsoon, or the Habagat, has climbed to 6. The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council reports only 2 of these fatalities have been confirmed. 4 others remain unverified. 6 people are still missing and 6 more have been injured. More than 1.2 million Filipinos, or over 360,000 families, have been affected by the relentless rains across all 17 regions nationwide. Damage to agriculture has already reached 54 million pesos, while infrastructure losses have surged to over 413 million pesos. Amid the ongoing crisis, state meteorologists warn that another tropical cyclone is expected to form by Wednesday. Stay tuned to the Billionaire News channel and our social media platforms for updates all throughout the day. Parts of Metro Manila were submerged on Monday as the enhanced southwest monsoon dumped heavy rain across the capital. Floodwaters rose to knee-deep in areas like España Boulevard in Manila, where children were seen playing on makeshift boats or rafts. Several major roads like Taft Avenue also experienced ankle to gutter deep floods, affecting commuters and motorists. In Baclaran, it was business as usual for vendors despite flood risks. Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City also faced flooding, with garbage floating on the streets and homes affected. The rains triggered severe traffic congestion, especially along the North Luzon Expressway, or NLEX. Authorities also urged residents in flood-prone areas to remain on alert and take necessary precautions. Evacuation centers in Marikina and Quezon City are now home to thousands of flood victims as the Social Welfare Department ramps up its food distribution efforts. Pierre Pastor now joins us live from Marikina City to give us the latest. Pierre, what's the latest there?
Secretary Ted Herbosa of DOH is expected to come here at the Nangka Elementary School in Marikina City to personally check the situation. We have 502 families here and 2,407 individuals in the school. Earlier, we were at the Atis covered court in Payatas, where the DSWD distributed relief goods for the evacuees. The second batch of relief operations this morning was in H. Bautista Elementary School in JP Rizal, Marikina, where there are 603 families and about 3,800 individuals. Among the relief goods received by the evacuees are food packages from the DSWD and meals from the LGU. Right now, the families here are in line to get their lunch. According to the DSWD, they will not run out of these food packages for the evacuees because of the mechanical packing system at the NRCO, wherein they can produce 25,000 food boxes in just one batch. Later on, we will be moving to the Mai Rodriguez to also check the situation in that area. Mai?
Thank you and stay safe. Pierre Pastor reporting to us live from Marikina. Flooding across the country and now supposed flood control projects in the budget are making waves. More than 142 billion pesos in alleged insertions are raising eyebrows, with some senators saying those projects may be more fiction than fact. Dexter Ganibe of Abante Radio with the details.
Flooding is everywhere. Areas were affected by the southwest monsoon, but there are some by insertions. The 2025 General Appropriations Act is allegedly flooded with insertions. Documents obtained by Politico.com show a big chunk of the insertions went to alleged bogus flood control and infra projects. When it rains, it pours, and just like torrential rains, a staggering 142.7 billion peso insertions were allegedly made during the Bicameral Conference Committee of the 19th Congress, under the leadership of Senate President Francis Escudero, which he defended in one of his press conference at the Senate.
May mga proposed amendments ang mga senador at ang mga mambabatas sa Kamara man o sa Senado na dumaan sa proseso ng amendments. Kung saan mang lugar yon, nakalagay naman sa budget lahat.
Escudero is right. More than 12 billion pesos were allotted for infra and flood control projects in Bulacan. Another more than 9.1 billion peso went to his hometown, the province of Sorsogon. But Senator Joel Villanueva, who is from Bulacan, belied that there are such infra and flood mitigation projects in his province, as relayed to him by the Bulacan DPWH. And he will raise the issue during the budget deliberations in the coming months. If Bulacan didn't have the projects specified at the 2025 GAA, the question now is, where did the budget go? Tito Soto, returning senator for 20th Congress, wanted to straighten the mangled 2025 national budget come regular session. He made sure whether he will be in the majority or minority bloc to make things right for the 2026 national budget. Dexter Ganibe, Abante Radio.
All hands on deck for the government as agencies carry out disaster response efforts due to the combined effects of Typhoon Crising and rains enhanced by the Habagat. Francis Folve reports.
Defense Secretary Gibo Chodoro is part of President Bongbong Marcos's delegation in the official state visit to Washington. But according to the Secretary, the President is closely monitoring the situation in the country amid the onslaught of Typhoon Crising and the heavy rains and flooding caused by the southwest monsoon. While the President is in America, the Vice President is in The Hague. PBBM designated as caretakers of the country Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, Justice Secretary Crispin Remulla, and Agrarian Reform Secretary Conrado Estrella. Chodoro said he is still on top of the situation as chairperson of the NDRRMC and OCD. He added that before they left for America, he had already coordinated with DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian regarding aid for those who would be affected by the inclement weather.
Ako po'y binilinan constantly ng ating presidente bago pa man ako umalis na bantayan maigi ang relief efforts, rescue efforts at saka iba't ibang mga coordinated responses ng ating gobyerno dito sa Bagyong Crising. Ngayon po na nandito tayo, ako po'y kausap si General Bronner sa ating Armed Forces of the Philippines at i-coordinate din po niya ang mga kinakailangan na tulong sa US Indo-PACOM upang magamit po ang EDCA facilities at iba't ibang pang mga kagamitan na kinakailangan na katulong ng ating Armed Forces of the Philippines upang makaresponde sa ating mga kababayan.
Humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations of the Philippine Army continue in areas battered by Typhoon Crising and the southwest monsoon. This includes distributing relief goods in Ilocos Norte and assisting in transferring a wake to a safer location. They also conducted rescue operations and road clearing in Isabela, Pangasinan, and Cabangcalan City. Rescue operations have likewise been launched in Quezon City and Marikina due to continuous rising floodwaters. Secretary Gibo also highlighted the assistance coming from the Philippines' allied countries.
Umasa po kayo na 24/7 po nakatutok ang ating Pangulo at dito po sa Amerika, nandito po ang ating mga counterparts, ang US Indo-PACOM, kung saan nakikipag-usap kay General Bronner upang saan pwede makipagtulungan. Nandiyan na rin po ang Japan at iba pang mga kaalyado natin. Dito po makikita ng ating mga kababayan ang benepisyo ng pakikipag-ugnayan ng mga armed forces para makaligtas sa ating mga kababayan laban sa mga hamon ng kalikasan.
It will be recalled that humanitarian assistance and disaster relief are included in military exercises with allied forces from various countries. Meanwhile, calls poured into the 911 hotline of the Philippine National Police. According to PNP Chief Police General Nicolas Torre III, most of these calls were from people seeking rescue due to flooding in their areas during the consecutive days of rain since the weekend. Aside from rescue operations, police personnel were busy assisting LGUs in relief and mitigating efforts. Torre also reminded police personnel to ensure their own safety and to take extra precautions, especially in flooded areas, to avoid getting sick. Francis Polbe, Billionaire News Channel.
Over now to the United States, where we're getting updates ahead of the first bilateral meeting between President Bongbong Marcos and President Donald Trump. Ivy Reyes is on the ground in Washington, D.C., live with the latest. Ivy, what has been discussed so far?
My United States Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth reaffirmed Washington's commitment to Manila's support, especially on its long-standing territorial dispute with China in the South China Sea. At the Pentagon this morning, Hegseth commended the Marcos administration a stronger pushback amid incursions in the disputed waters. This includes the move to modernize the armed forces. In March, Hegseth visited the Philippines, and earlier this month, the U.S. Nemesis, or the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System, which is an anti-missile system that's able to counterattack surface vessels from land-based positions, were deployed in the Philippines. According to the defense chief, they do not seek confrontation, but the United States and the Philippines' defense mechanisms are ready and resolute. Highlighting the Mutual Defense Treaty, Hegseth said Washington's deepening its interoperability and expanding joint exercises to enhance real deterrence in the region. In his speech, President Bongbong Marcos said Hegseth's March visit sent a strong symbolic message in the Asia-Pacific of the binding Mutual Defense Treaty between Manila and Washington. According to Marcos, Washington's commitment to the treaty proves helpful in the face of challenges and threats of geopolitics and political developments in the region. By President Marcos was met with an enhanced honor cordon at the Pentagon or on defense and security. In the afternoon, Secretary of
All right, we just lost Ivy, but thank you for that report. Ivy Reyes, live from Washington, D.C. Like the Philippines, parts of the United States also dealing with heavy rain sweeping across the Midwest. Here's a video from Kansas City capturing a woman clinging to a tree to avoid being swept away by flash floods. Local authorities say the woman was stranded by rising waters near the Indian Creek. Luckily, she was pulled to safety by rescuers. South Korea also dealing with massive flooding. President Lee Jae-myung vows a swift and thorough response to the disaster. Lee visited several areas affected by days of heavy rain that triggered floods and landslides and left at least 18 people dead. Officials say 9 people remain missing. Across the country, nearly 2,000 public structures and private facilities suffered damage. With the rain easing there, the National Weather Agency has now issued a nationwide heat wave watch. We now go to Bangladesh, dealing with a deadly air disaster. An Air Force training jet crashed into a college and school campus, killing at least 19 people. Over 160 others were hurt. A military spokesman says the plane went down shortly after takeoff due to mechanical failure. The incident comes a little over a month after an Air India plane crashed on top of a medical college hostel in neighboring India. That crash killed 241 people on board and 19 more on the ground. One passenger miraculously survived. Our reporters are on the ground to bring you the latest on the areas affected by today's incessant rains. Those stories and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. And you're back on Newsfeed at Noon. Cainta, Rizal in waist-high floodwaters after non-stop rains trigger evacuations in 18 barangays. Hannah T joins us live for the latest. Hannah, has the situation there improved?
No, Mai, no. Until now, floodwaters have reached knee to high or waist level here in Felix Avenue in Cainta. We're just a few meters away from Vista Verde extension, and even now heavy rainfall continues. And as of 8 a.m. today, the LGU reports that a total of 1,314 families, that's more than 5,000 individuals across 18 evacuation centers in Cainta, have been affected by Typhoon Crising and the southwest monsoon. Village residents here tell us this is a yearly struggle, and floods like this happen whenever rains last through the night. Some even already parked their cars along the avenue since they expected the heavy rains. And to assist stranded commuters and residents, the LGU has deployed 9 trucks and rescue vehicles since this morning. These are stationed in flood-prone areas including East Bank Road and Village East. Earlier this year, the municipal government laid out a series of flood mitigation measures. Cainta Mayor Keith Nieto himself oversaw the installation of booster pumps and pump stations to drain creeks faster during intense rains. And despite these efforts, Nieto admits that flooding remains a deeply personal failure. Just yesterday, he called the distribution of relief goods a form of penitence, a symbol of how much work is left to be done. He admits that handing out relief goods doesn't feel like a win. It feels like a form of penitence. For him, it's a constant reminder that despite all efforts, he still hasn't fully solved the flooding problem. This flooding crisis has long been a recurring issue every rainy season, not just in Cainta, but nationwide. And for 2025, the national government allocated 21 billion pesos for disaster response and rehabilitation through the Calamity Fund, and more than 250 billion for flood mitigation projects. And despite these massive figures, flooding scenes like this behind me remain far too common. Mai?
Yes, and thousands are still displaced there. So Hannah, let's go back to what Cainta Mayor Keith Nieto said about handing relief goods. He said it's a form of penitence. Give us a bit of context. Why did he say this?
Actually, Mayor Nieto shared how he's been personally wading through floodwaters to bring aid, bring relief goods, and sometimes he falls into open sewers and getting sick from the contaminated water. That's why he's calling it a form of penitence. And despite this, he says he still shows up for the Cainta citizens because he is the mayor. Mai?
Yes, and imagine doing this repeatedly every time it's Habagat season. We can just imagine how difficult it must be. Thank you. Hanati reporting to us there live from Cainta, Rizal. Improved conditions at the North Luzon Expressway as floodwaters recede, but Valenzuela's problems are far from over. We have Joan Manalo reporting live from Barangay Paso de Blas. Go ahead, Joan.
The parts of the North Luzon Expressway are now passable as flood waters have subsided this morning. However, light to moderate rain still continue to persist here at the NLEX Paso de Blas Valenzuela area. According to the latest traffic update from NLEX management, released at 8:30 a.m. today, light traffic is reported northbound from Balintawak to May Kawayan. In the Valenzuela interchange southbound lane, stalled vehicles have been cleared and all lanes are now passable. Although floodwaters in Paso de Blas, Valenzuela have receded, a significant amount of trash can still be seen piled and stocked on the wire fence approaching the exit. Meanwhile, in Valenzuela City, light raids continued earlier this morning in Barangay Marulas, where one of the city's evacuation centers is located. 194 families or 760 individuals have taken shelter at the Valenzuela National High School due to the heavy rains and flooding. According to Valenzuela City social worker Jinky Avelino, there has been no electricity in the area since last night. Meanwhile, in Barangay Dalandanan, Valenzuela, flood waters remain knee-deep. Hence, the Philippine Coast Guard is currently deployed in the area to provide assistance and rescue boats to commuters and residents who may need to leave for work. Mai.
Thank you, Joan Manalo, reporting to us live from Valenzuela. A group of stranded passengers trend online for how they dealt with the traffic caused by the rains. That and more coming up when Newsfeed at Noon returns. Floodwaters continue to disrupt lives in Laguna. In Biñan, one of the most severely affected cities, streets remain chest deep in some areas, forcing residents and rescuers to rely on boats. We now go live to Joash Malimban, who is in Laguna, for an update. Joash, how's the situation there?
Yes, Mai, we visited San Pedro and Biñan in the province of Laguna. And according to Governor Sol Aragones, Biñan is among the most severely affected areas in the province. In Barangay de La Paz, residents are using boats to cross chest-deep flooded streets. Local government units are also deploying boats to distribute relief goods and conduct rescue operations. Meanwhile, in San Pedro, coastal barangays such as Barangay Landayan remain affected. Floodwaters in some areas are still gutter to knee-deep, but residents say water levels have significantly subsided after at least 2 hours without heavy rain. According to the San Pedro Public Information Office, relief operations are ongoing in affected communities. Residents in low-lying areas are being encouraged to move to evacuation centers for their safety. Mai.
Right, thank you and stay safe. Joash Malimban reporting to us from Laguna. Getting stranded for hours on a major expressway and in incessant rains can be a nightmare. But instead of just sitting around, a group of passengers took matters into their own hands and cooked up some comfort food. Take a look at this. A video posted by @Vanessa Reels on TikTok shows these passengers cooking instant pancit canton, complete with a caldero and a propane tank in their pickup truck along the NLEX. The post has so far garnered over 86,000 reactions and over 21,000 shares on TikTok. And netizens are abuzz. One user called it camping sa NLEX with a crying emoji. Another said these guys could be an endorser of a popular instant noodle brand, complete with a catchy slogan, mula noon hanggang ngayon, sa bahay man o sa NLEX, pansit canton pa din ang hanap-hanap ko. And a concerned netizen asked if what the stranded passengers did was actually dangerous. Another answered, hindi naman po. Basta mabigay po kayo pag nagluto po kayo. Those are the news this hour. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Stay safe and stay dry. Stay tuned to the Billionaire News Channel. Good afternoon.